because first of all, I've always been a rebel. I have a very strong personality. I know what I want, and I get it.
Hello, my name is Xenia. We are doing an interview for Instant Karma, and today we are talking with Anna Michelan. She's a famous jeweler in Bali. Now we are in her beautiful jewelry shop. And Anna, please, could you introduce yourself first? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I learned the beading work in my 20s. I'm from Venice, Italy, yeah? And I learned from an Imperialessa Veneziana, which is the traditional beader, traditional from Marco Polo time. And that was in my 20s. More or less around the same time, I did a school of art and design of jewelry in Vicenza, which is a big center in Italy of jewelry. So I learned all this in my 20s, and then I came to Bali, and I put it all on the side because I started trading with Bali and Italy. And I started with jewelry, t-shirt, name it, everything. And I ended out with art and antiques. I was passionate of Chinese art when nobody was after Chinese art. And so I always thought that if I get pregnant, I want my son to grow up in Bali, because here the kids are like gods, yeah? And so I was 32, and I fell in love with a French guy, and I got pregnant. And so I tried to live in France. It was not my place. So I came to Bali. I already had a house here, and I decided to stay. Then, because I was into art and stuff, you know, I tried, but I didn't like it because I was missing bringing the stuff, the things that I collected to my clients and get the appreciation. So I decided that was not for me. And then I threw the I Ching, the Chinese oracle, and they said to me, in a situation like this, you have to do what you can do the best. And I remember a friend of mine said to me, oh, you're so good, you should do this. Nobody's doing this in Bali. And at the time, we're talking about the 93, there was hardly any jeweler here. So I started to do things that were not commercial, but then I was requested to do commercial, which is not my thing either. So then out of a crisis, I got invited to a crystal workshop in Australia. And reading between the lines, I understood that it was a thing I had to do. So I went to Australia and I came back, and together with my spiritual practice, I came up with this concept, which is working with the chakra system. I found out that every stone corresponds to a different chakra. Every chakra corresponds to different organs and part of the body. So if you have certain issues, you can help with the crystals. And that's how I started with my concept.
Nice, sounds amazing. And you said first you came in Bali and decided to stay here, like to settle, to open your shop here.
No, I didn't make a shop at the beginning. At the beginning it was only production, and I was giving it to shops to sell for me. I wasn't into shop at all. Then I was living in 66 Road for 30 years, and when I hired the workshop next door, there was one little room that I turned into shop. It was behind, it was not in the main road. So people really liked to find me because it was a
hidden place,
yeah, next to a beautiful temple with a huge mango tree. And I've still clients now from that time. And so that's how it started. Then 66 became impossible to live, you know, all the traffic, it was horrible. So I decided to move out. And I went to Jalan Mertanadi for 5 years. So there I made the shop, because the huge place had a shop in the front. So I did the office, and then at the end I said, okay, let's do the shop. So then I did the shop, it was beautiful. But then during COVID, I didn't get to term with the owner, so I decided to move. And actually, I knew the owner of this place from the 80s, and he gave it to me at my terms.
Nice.
So it was, like when you read between the lines, you understand what's supposed to be and what not. And when things flow, it means it's the right direction. Yeah.
Right, yeah, we need to read the signs.
Yeah, exactly. So 1 year ago, I opened this shop in the main road, much bigger than the one before. So I have the workshop in the back, we have accounting, everything is here. Everything that we do come out of here. So we have our silversmith and goldsmith that do the pendants or whatever is needed, and we assemble here. So so this place is my last creation.
Oh, but in the first place, why Bali? Why? Because Italy seems to be this center of art and all that. Why Bali?
Because first of all, I've always been a rebel. I married when I was 16 and I started traveling, and so I had a passion for traveling, and so I came to Bali in 1981 first time, and Bali embraced me. So it changed my life, because then by buying things here, selling there, I started this trading thing, and then when I came to live here, I asked myself, but I'm living in the island of the artist, so what is my art?
Right.
And my art is doing jewelry. So that's how I started doing jewelry in 1994 or something, 95 or something.
Yeah, but I just thought about it, that now it's so easy to learn new things, right? Workshops, internet, all that. But back then, I think it was harder. How did you learn this craft?
I told you I did the School of Art and Design of jewelry. In my 20s, and I learned to do the beadwork from a traditional beader from Venice. So I had that as a knowledge. So that was my art.
Okay, but then how did you? Is it very similar? Is it jewelry?
Well, then different? Then when you start, if you are talented, if you are good with your hands, you develop your own technique. You work out things,
So you just try, and learn.
Yeah, well, as Italian, I have a good taste as a base, because growing up in a beautiful country like Italy, we have a strong sense of beauty, and I'm Libra ascendant, so I have a strong sense of beauty. Then learning about the crystal properties gave me a different input that was not only based on the look, but on the property. So I combine the look and the property together, and I make my own style. This is nothing new. I didn't invent anything, because this is what the Buddhists and Hindus use for meditation. So it's 108. I was doing a course of meditation with the Balinese high priest for 4 years. We had to go every week to Ratu Pedanda Madegunung. It was my teacher. It was my only teacher ever I had. So I was in this Balinese community. We were 3 foreigners, and so I integrated all the learning of the Balinese practice to my crystal, my meditation, my yoga, and I make my own mix. And I became who I am now.
I see, nice. And you say you also believe and also work on crystals' properties, right? Like on the healing qualities and all that. And did you always believe in the spiritual things, or something made you believe it?
When I used to work in the antique markets in Italy, buying art in Indonesia and selling in Italy, I was already collecting crystals. So I had my own collection of crystals. Then I had a printout with all the properties. So when I started to do jewelry in Bali, I wanted to do something different, So at the time we didn't have computer. So I borrowed my friend's typing, and I bought turquoise paper for turquoise, different papers for different stones. And I copied, and I was writing my own, I threw away all these papers on the last time when I moved out of 66. I still had piles of it. So already back then, my intention was to give the information to the client when they buy turquoise, what is turquoise good for? And that's what I do now. When you buy something, you get a card with the property of the stones so that you know what it's good for. And my belief about this is that you bring to your consciousness the property of the stones. So you go like, oh, but this is exactly what I need, you know? Yeah. And by doing that, I feel it's more like, it is like putting the turbo in the engine. You put an extra gear, you know? Yeah. So when you bring the information about the stone that you're wearing to your consciousness, and you accept or you notice that it's exactly what you need, then you start to feel the benefit of it. Yeah. And we get a lot of testimonials of people that they buy this mala, this stone, and then it goes like, you know what, it's amazing, I cannot stay without, I even sleep with it. You know? Yes. And so I make also jewelry for transformation. So when people search for transformation, we have specific crystals that we suggest, or whatever else, because, you know, a lot of the issues that people have are problem with the heart chakra, broken heart, wanting to find love, blocked heart chakra, communication. A lot of people have problem with the communication. You cannot speak your truth. Yeah. So we have specific crystals for that. Grounding, the lowest chakras. People are on the clouds, they need grounding. Yeah. Or like protection. We live in Bali, there is a lot of magic, there is a lot of, in the world, there's a lot of negative things happening. Somebody can send you a curse just by telling you bad words or something in the traffic jam. And so we wear protection, black tourmaline, and also electromagnetic. We have shungai from Russia for the electromagnetic protection. So study of the crystal is never finished. I keep studying. I always go back to the books. And if somebody comes and say, oh, my friend is doing chemotherapy, what can I give? Okay, I study, and I propose. And then I see what I have, and then I let them choose and see which crystal or object or jewelry or stones they're attracted from.
Nice. Yeah. So back to Bali. Yeah, today it's raining, and we talked that it means Bali gives you a sign. Stop, calm down, just wait. It will be.
Yeah, Balinese would wait for the rain to stop to go back again into the road. Yeah.
Yeah, and I ask you like how to run a successful business here with this, in these conditions, with this, you know, mindset. What other challenges you meet here, like running a business?
The challenges are the culture of Bali. But because I've been doing that practice, 4 years of practice, and because I've been here long enough, I embrace that too. So when my staff come to me and say, oh, I have a ceremony, or I have somebody died in the family, I cannot work, you know, because they tell you like 1 hour or maybe 2 hours after they're supposed to be coming. I learned to accept that, you know, because it's the culture. You cannot tell them you cannot go to your ceremony, you know. So I think that is the biggest challenge as a foreigner to work here, you know. Because if you come here expecting to run your business as you would do in the West, it's no way. Yeah. So you have to compensate, you know, or you have to accept. So you work on the tolerance, you work on acceptance, you work in the fact that we're living in a place that is a different culture.
Yeah, right.
When I come in the morning, if I'm not too busy, I do my offerings. I have my Blanky around there, I have the other temple over there. I ask for protection, guidance. I ask the gods to show me the way, help me to solve my problems, you know, and they do.
Good. Yeah.
The Balinese, when they pray, they talk to the gods. They say, I have this, they listen to you. Then we have like twice a year, we have the big ceremony. It's called Odalang. And so we all gather together. We have the manku. We do our prayers. Somebody goes into trance. We understand if something wrong with the offerings or so. And this is Balinese. It's all Balinese stuff. You know? We do regularly. We do melukat, which is the cleansing ceremony with the holy water, with the water, which is cleaning, and it makes you lighter. If you have issues, problems, it will make you feel much better afterwards. So the fact that I follow a high priest, Balinese high priest, make me embrace the culture. And if you come here without doing that, you're going to get in trouble sooner or later.
Yeah, for sure. And as we preparing this women-centered edition, I wanted to ask you, are there any challenges you think that women in particular experience while running business in a foreign country?
I have a very strong personality. I know what I want, and I get it. So I'm very strong and determined on that, yeah? In 96, I split from the father of my son, and I found myself as a single mom with nothing, and I had to start from scratch. So in Italian we say, I roll my sleeves, and I start to work my ass off. And everything I did it on my own work, just like an ant, putting one sand after the other. And this is the result. So it definitely helped me to be strong. It helped me embracing the culture of Bali. And then, you know what? At that point, with two broken hearts, I'd say, you know what? I'm not interested on that anymore, What is more important in this moment in my life? And it was to provide for my son. I spoiled him to death, and I decided that I wanted to give him everything I didn't get, which is a big mistake as a mother. But anyway, it was a big mistake, but it was also, he always thanked me about growing up in Bali because he has something extra than from the kids that live in the West. He's now living in London since 11 years. I was dealing with the empty nest syndrome that I never recover from, which is typical of mothers, especially when your kid is your focus. And so, my life became my work, my son, my personal growth, spirituality, trying to find some well-being in this crazy world that we're living in, So by putting my focus on these things instead of go out and get a new boyfriend, Sometimes I define myself these days as a nun. I feel like a nun, because I gave up that part of, as I had it before, and the result of it was having a kid, which I love. It was the biggest, the most beautiful thing in my life, to become a mother. You really learn about the unconditional love, And so, depends where your focus go, and if you know this, that you create with your beliefs, and where your focus goes is where you create,
Right.
So, but big part of me is my spirituality.
Great, amazing, thank you. So we were talking about being a woman in this world, running business as a woman. There are so many women nowadays. I think it's more like my age that are very into spirituality, into crystals. But the main idea now is that femininity and being a woman is when you just sit with your crystals around you and just wait for the better, But you seem to be on the other side. You said you were strong, you were working hard, you were traveling the world when it wasn't that easy. What do you think about this idea of femininity, and what is femininity for you, being a woman for you?
It's not easy to be a woman in this world, especially coming from a patriarchal. So there is a return of matriarchal now. So the women are getting stronger and stronger. I'm going to say something that I'm not sure I should say, but I think I was a witch in a previous life. In 12th century, they were burning the witches, and what they were actually medicine women, They were not, look, I get goosebumps, which means the spirit world said to me, yes. They confirmed to me that I'm saying the right thing. I had different events in my life that make me understand about this. And so being a woman, you have to be strong now with everything that's going on in the world, And being a woman doesn't mean being beautiful, dressing nice, with a nice makeup without wrinkles and all that stuff, It means really empower your feminine side, And listen to your guts, listen to your voice inside. What is your life all about? What is your goal? What are you here for, we're not here only to live our life and end in underground, there's more than that, I mean, I've been doing different practices of personal growth, and for me, if I have to suggest something to the women, is go and connect with your true self and find your voice, find what you're here for. Express what you're here for, which doesn't mean you have to be doing jewelry or crystal, whatever is wherever you have your power, But, for example, in my case, like, even though I've been doing meditation all these years, I used to do Merkaba meditation for 15 years. 1.5 years ago, during COVID, I started a group of meditation with a Lama from Portugal. It's called Heart and Mind. It's nothing religious, but it requires discipline, which means every morning when I wake up, I start my day with half an hour of meditation, and where you try to not stop the mind, because you cannot stop the mind, but go into that space that is between thoughts,
Yeah.
And I always say to also my staff, when you have something going on, going into that space of emptiness, it's where you get the answer. So if you have anything going on in your life, which is so difficult, you have to take decisions and stuff, going through that, go in the space between thoughts, find what is coming next, that is the answer, and then follow your intuition. That's a big one.
I see, great.
Don't be influenced from influencers and all that stuff that is going on out there, which is very superficial and shallow.
Yeah.
And go more in deep into
Yeah.
what is the life all about? What are we here for? Who am I?
Right. Yeah. Listen to yourself, right?
Yes, you get the answer from yourself.
Look inwards.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go into a little bit more like specific, like instructions, right? So if anybody, right, a woman, a man wants to start a business, a jewelry business, gemstone business, what would your like 3 advice, or like you think 3 steps that they should do to make it successful, to make it, to make it work? What do you think?
I wouldn't know really what to say, but what I can say is like, you know what I do? I never look what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I get the inspiration from myself.
Nice.
I got a lot of inspiration from my meditation practice. I do Kundalini yoga. We do the other day we did half an hour yoga and 1 hour meditation. Chanting, mantras, meditation. And then through the meditation, I get all these insights. I get these ideas. They come from there. So, yeah, sometimes I look at what's happening, like, okay, now next season is going to be turquoise. Mm-hmm. Trendy, turquoise. Okay, so what can I create in turquoise? Right now, after a crisis, there is minimalism. It's trendy.
Yeah.
So my clients a lot are into minimalist jewelry. Okay, so I follow that trend, but I express myself from my insights and from my creativity. I never look what the other people are going, a little bit, sometimes. Yeah, I get inspired. But I get inspired maybe from Pinterest, Instagram, what people are wearing. That's what I miss going to Italy. 4 years I haven't been there. Then I walk the street and I see what people are wearing, what they look like, what the trend. I look Christian Dior fashion show. It's like, oh my God, yeah, I like that. This is something I already do, so I might change it into that.
Yeah,
so I don't look at my neighbor or what the jewelers are doing in Bali.
Right. Again, look inwards.
Yeah.
Right.
Get the answer within yourself.
Right.
Because if you start to copy people around, it's not genuine.
Yeah.
It's not your own thing. So you don't get that satisfaction that you would get if it comes from inside.
That's true, that's true. And what about crystals? Someone like me, I'm starting my crystal journey. What would your advice be for people who want to start, living, working with crystals? Yeah, I mean, getting something from crystals, if it doesn't sound too bad. How to start?
Okay, so what I tell my clients is when they come into the shop, just leave everything outside, all your expectation ideas like, oh, what is the stone for my birth sign? I don't work with that. What I say is just empty your mind, go and walk around and see what is attracting you. You are attracted from what you need. The crystal will call you. There's going to be something that you feel more attraction than others. Then, once you see that, you go to see why. What is the property of those stones? And you go like, wow, that's exactly what I need. So that's what I suggest to you, you know? See what is calling you, because the crystal call you.
Right.
They call me.
I see. Great. And the last thing I wanted to ask you: what do you have any plans for the future? Do you have any ideas to open like another shop or something else, or you just go with the flow? What are your plans?
When I did this shop, it was during COVID. My friends were telling me, some of my friends were telling me, "Are you sure? We don't know what's coming next," you know. And I always believe in me and I follow my guts, you know, and my guts was telling me, go for it. And I did. I decided in 1 month I was going to move out from there and to here, and it happened. And everybody like, how did you do that? I was here, you know, like 2 team of workers, you do this, you do that, da-da-dee-da-da-da. I'm very good on that. And I follow my guts, I invested everything, and this is the result. And I thought, you know what? I think this is it. I have enough. I gave my best. I really gave my best here. You know, I'm 65. How much more can I work? Another 5 years? And then I would like to retire. Maybe stay as a consultant or I love buying. So I would love to be a buyer. I love to design. I can design. But have somebody else that run the business, because even though my staff is very good and so, I'm the one that see everything is wrong. I have an eye to see what is wrong, and everything comes to me. And so I come here, and it's like sometimes I'm going like, what is my job? Problem solving is my job. And jewelry designer. So I would like to, in my future, to be more of a jewelry designer and less of a problem solver. Have somebody else solving the problem. You know?
I see.
Because also in Bali, it's never finished. You finish something, boom, something else. It's like a test, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, that is my vision of the future, is to maybe slow down at a certain point, enjoy my life a bit more, go to see my son instead of for 2 weeks, stay there 2 months in London, travel around Europe, you know, be more like picking up the fruit of all my work and all my seeding, which is a lot. I started very young, and I've been working. So I think it's time to, at a certain point, if it's meant to be, to enjoy my life a bit more.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It was so great to talk to you. So many interesting stories, so many good advice. Thank you very much for being with us. You can check all the materials on our website, and see you next time.